Sorry about that, everyone. I realize now I've been on mute, so let me start back over. There's some material to cover here. Trying to click my way back up to the top here. I'm going to move somewhat quickly through the slides for about 20 minutes and allow some time at the end for questions. So please note that our website has a page on solar net energy metering. You can see the URL there, and we have everyone on mute, but you can use the chat function when we get to Q&A if you have some questions. So first, some background on EBCE. We're Alameda County's official electricity provider. We're a public agency based in downtown Oakland, formed by Alameda County and 11 cities therein. We offer low rates, green power options, and a portfolio of programs that complement the offerings that our customers continue to receive from PG&E. And as you can see here on the timeline, we launched in 2015, but I guess first I should say East Bay Community Energy, we're a CCA, or a Community Choice Aggregator, and there's a 2002 law that allows communities to form their own electricity procurement provider. And in 2015, Alameda County commissioned a feasibility study, and then a couple of years later, a joint powers agreement was signed to form the JPA, which is East Bay Community Energy. This past June 2018, we launched service to commercial customers, and in November 2018, we launched our residential service. So now we serve over 500,000 accounts in Alameda County. In fact, EBCE will serve about 30,000 solar net energy metered accounts by the end of 2019. And enrollment for existing NEM accounts will be based on the PG&E true-up date or the interconnection anniversary for each customer. So customers that have a PG&E true-up date from January to April of 2019 will be enrolled in April 2019. That's next month. And then after April, enrollments will be bi-monthly. So for example, customers with May to June true updates will be enrolled in EBCE service in June, and so on. And then new solar installations are automatically enrolled in EBCE service when they're given permission to operate. This is a map of our service area. EBCE's board is made up of one elected official from each city we serve, as well as a county supervisor. Our board meetings are open to the public, and they are usually held on the third Wednesday of the month in Hayward at the Hayward City Hall. You can find the schedule itself on our website. And EBCE also serves the unincorporated areas of the county, such as San Lorenzo, Ashland, Cherryland, Fairview, Castro Valley, and Seminole, and then we also serve those 11 cities. And there are 3 cities in Alameda County that we don't serve, that don't participate in EBCE. Those are the city of Alameda, which has its own municipal utility, and the cities of Newark and Pleasanton. Newark and Pleasanton can join after 2020 if their city councils vote to do so. There are currently 8 operational CCAs in the Bay Area, so you're maybe familiar with these agencies. You can see the logos out there to the right. That number is growing. There will probably be 20 CCAs statewide by 2020 with a combined service area population of 18 million. And MCE in Marin was the first operating CCA. They launched in 2010 in Marin County and have grown beyond that service area since. And currently, all of these CCAs offer a greener power mix and lower rates than PG&E. So the CCA concept is the same all over California. Electricity is based on 2 components, the source or the generation, and then there's the delivery or transmission. So there's the generation side and the transmission side of the service. PG&E used to manage both. Now when you're served by a CCA like ours, we are buying the power and PG&E is delivering it to customers. So EBCE's electricity is generated by clean and green energy sources, meaning that we have higher percentages of carbon-free and renewable energy coming from facilities like hydroelectric, solar, and wind farms. PG&E delivers the electricity and is responsible for the lines. So for day-to-day customers, they actually see very little difference, if any difference at all, because for our customers, most things remain the same. our customers continue to receive a single bill each month, and they call PG&E in the event of an outage, and they retain all of the same discounts automatically as they used to, including care for low income, FARA medical baseline, and even the PG&E employee discount remains the same. We have the same schedules, the same rate schedules as PG&E. So if a customer is on a time of use rate, like the TOU, then EBCE has them on the same rate schedule automatically. It just ports automatically, and our rates mirror the PG&E rates. What's different is that we offer a lower rate option for customers. We have one option that's lower priced than PG&E. We give customers 3 options of service level, and then we add in some additional programs that are in addition to what PG&E offers programmatically. Here's a overview of our service options. These overlay your PG&E rate schedule. So for example, Bright Choice, that's the default service for most of our customers, and it's priced at 1.5% below PG&E. That's for all elements of the rate schedule. So for demand charges, for time of use rates, everything is just pegged to PG&E, just slightly below. Brilliant 100 is priced at parity with PG&E. It's sourced from a combination of large hydro, wind, and solar. And then Renewable 100 costs a penny per kilowatt hour premium and is sourced from 50% wind and 50% solar from facilities in California. And these rates are inclusive of all fees. You might have heard about the power charge and difference adjustment, or the exit fee from PG&E. When we say that Brilliant 100 is the same price as PG&E, that includes all of the fees. Community choice aggregators like EBCE were called opt-out programs because automatic enrollment is a legal requirement of how community choice programs are created. So we provide our customers the opportunity to choose by sending multiple notifications by mail when we do our enrollments. And then the customers receive postcards before and after they're mass enrolled so that they're aware of the program and can opt out. They can actually opt out anytime, and the phone number is there. They can do so on our website. They can choose between our 3 service options or return to PG&E service. And moving along to our solar NEM policies. PG&E customers are used to having their generation rates presented as a bundled cost per kilowatt hour with the generation and delivery merged together. So the aqua that you see here and the green, that's the electricity part of their bill, and then the orange for natural gas. That's sort of the way a typical customer will see it if they really bother to look at all, right? But EBCE service replaces PG&E's generation service, and we want to make sure our customers understand that our service is not an additional charge. It replaces PG&E's charge, and so you'll see this is a pie representing the full cost of their bill, and you'll see when they're on EBCE service, PG&E removes the cost of generation service by issuing a generation credit, which the customer can see on their bill. And then that void on the bill is replaced by 3 new charges: EBCE's generation, the power charge and difference adjustment, or PCIA, and the franchise fee. And for customers on Bright Choice, which is our discount option, the sum of those 3 charges will be less than the generation credit value, and that creates a discount compared to what PG&E would have charged. So the treatment here is the same for a NEM customer or a non-NEM customer. So the next few slides, I'll provide some detailed and possibly confusing information. So I just want to pause here and reinforce the point that the differences between EBCE and PG&E service will have a minimal bill impact for most NEM customers. The differences can be complicated to understand. The billing presentment can be complicated, but most customers will be financially about the same over the course of a year, whether they're on PG&E or EBCE for generation service. So for solar customers on EBCE service, all of the PG&E charges for power delivery will continue to be handled the same as they always have been. They'll pay the minimum delivery charge each month. They'll have the same annual true-up with PG&E for their delivery charges and credits. The main difference is that on EBCE service, the generation credits and charges are now handled by EBCE. So now I'll walk through a couple of slides that detail what stays the same and what's different. So the yearly true-up is a major component of solar net energy metered electricity bills, as you probably know. Customers on EBCE service continue their annual true-up schedule for PG&E's delivery charges. This true-up will remain aligned with the yearly PG&E interconnection anniversary date. EBCE, however, has its own true-up process, which is now handled every April. And really, it's more of a payout than a true-up, since EBCE does monthly account balancing. So if a customer has a net surplus of generation in a given month, so they're cranking out a lot of solar power, then EBCE will credit that amount at a retail generation rate into their account balance, just as PG&E would do. But if they have a negative account balance, EBCE will charge that amount at retail generation rates. So whereas PG&E would hold that charge until the annual true-up, EBCE will make that charge for the generation portion only in the month of if the customer is running a deficit. So since EBCE is billing customers anytime their generation account balance is negative, EBCE customers don't carry a large generation balance, so April becomes a cash out or a payout month. And it tends to minimize the impact for customers who carry a large generation balance in their account with PG&E, because we're sort of relieving some of that financial buildup over the course of the year. We're doing that on a monthly basis. So customers with a generation balance over $100 each April will receive a check from EBCE, and if their account balance is less than $100, then we'll sort of cash them out as a credit on their account. This table from our website summarizes the value of that annual payout credit each April. As you can see here, existing NEM customers get the same compensation from EBCE that they always have from PG&E, so annual compensation remains the same. For new NEM customers, they get an annual payout credit at retail rates up to $2,500. So that makes our compensation a little more generous than PG&E for new solar accounts. And then one more payment we make annually is an additional penny per kilowatt hour for low-income customers on the CARE rate and for municipally held accounts with solar. Now on to the monthly billing. Whether on EBCE service or on PG&E generation service, any monthly excess of solar generation is saved in the customer's account at the retail rate for that kilowatt hour. So when a customer is on time of use rates, the charges and credits are valued at the effective rate at the time of generation or consumption. So peak kilowatt hours of excess generation are valued at peak rates and so on. For new solar installations, those that came online after EBCE launched in June 2018, EBCE provides an extra penny per kilowatt hour for accounts on the CARE rate for low income or for municipally held accounts. And then it's also worth noting that customers are charged and credited based on their EBCE service level. So EBCE customers on Renewable 100 will be credited an extra penny per kilowatt hour for surplus generation, but they also pay an extra penny per kilowatt hour for power they need to purchase. Here's a summary of the monthly bill credit values. So you'll see all customers receive at least retail rates with the extra penny payment for new NEM accounts that are on low income and municipal accounts. This is a visual depiction of a typical generation account balance over a year for a typical residential account. All generation account balances will be less than $100 after April because of EBCE's cash out policy. Oops, sorry, I see a window popping up here. Solar net metered customers will typically build up a generation credit balance over the summer and early fall when we see plenty of long days and sunshine. and then draw down their credit balance over the winter months when the days are shorter. So here in this example, starting in October, this customer is a net consumer of energy. They don't generate as much power as they use in October. However, since they've accrued generation credits with EBCE in prior months, they will not make a payment to EBC in October. In fact, for this customer profile, the customer will not make a payment to EBCE from May through January. EBCE will only charge customers when their generation account balance is negative. For many customers, they'll only have bill charges from EBCE in the late winter months leading up to April. However, in these cases, paying a little each month avoids the large true-up bill that those customers would have received with PG&E bundled service. If this customer was on PG&E generation service, they'd accrue $90 in generation charges that they would owe at true-up, but on EBCE service, they would pay $30 each month for 3 months. EBCE has the same rate schedules and discounts as PG&E. It's important to note that E6, which is a rate schedule PG&E no longer issues, is honored by EBCE. We've heard from some E6 customers that they're concerned that they'll lose their E6 status if they're served by EBCE and then return to PG&E, but that's not the case. The rate schedule you're on is an agreement between the customer and PG&E, so participating in EBCE has no impact on that determination, and you cannot lose your E6 status by participating as an EBCE customer. So EBCE customer billing is through PG&E, and the bill presentment for solar customers can be a bit complicated and confusing. And if you're already familiar with PG&E's solar billing presentment, you know that. When you add EBCE service in the mix, it creates a new page, and it also creates some new charges and credits on the existing parts of the bill. So for that reason, when solar customers have a question about their bill, I recommend that they call our call center, and on the last screen, you'll see the direct line for that number. I'm just going to share a couple of bill images quickly here, but I'm not going to walk through all of the detail. This is the first page of a PG&E bill for a NEM customer on EBCE service. And as I mentioned before, a customer will see EBCE charges if their generation account balance has gone negative. You can see that in this month, the customer makes no payment to EBCE. They only pay the minimum delivery charge to PG&E along with their natural gas charges. This is the page of the bill that provides the same information, actually, whether or not the customer is on EBCE service. Their transmission and distribution balance accrues as usual for the delivery side. And then here you see the same graphs that you typically see for the monthly change in account balance with 3 months of overgeneration and 1 month where the home used more than they generated. So again, this is the same as you're familiar with. And then this is the page with the minimum delivery charge. It's there whether or not the customer is on EBCE service. And then this is the credit page, and this page shows the details of PG&E energy costs for the billing cycle. PG&E tallies up the net kilowatt hours and applies the usage tiers. As you can see, this customer's within their tier 1 usage. If the customer had a care rate, you'd see that show up here along with medical baseline. This page is important to note because the generation credit is here. It shows what the customer would have paid PG&E for generation service. You can also see that power charge and difference adjustment and the franchise fee. And I think I'll probably leave it at that. And if you have questions about how this part of the bill works, you can just contact me directly or call our call center. And then this is the EBCE page of the bill. And you can see here that the NEM balance in this particular month is reduced by $9.27, which is EBCE's charge plus the Energy Commission tax. Because there was an available NEM balance, there's no charge. You can see the zero due there. This customer had a month in which they didn't generate enough solar power to match their usage, but they still make no payments to EBCE because in previous months that they had built up the account balance. And then, finally, here's some opportunities to stay in touch with us. You can sign up for our email list on our website. We're on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And our board meetings are open to the public. We encourage the public to show up and comment on our policies and rate making and such. And we also do a lot of in-person outreach to look at us at events. And now I think I will hop into Q&A, but first I'm going to see if maybe I can hand the mic over to Scott Murdishaw and pull down my list of attendees here and see if I can get him on the mic. Hold on one second while I try and unmute. Oh, do I have you there, Scott?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, excellent. Yes, I can hear you. Thanks so much for joining in. Sorry I had you on mute earlier.
Yeah, no problem. Well, thanks for the webinar, and I really appreciate you reaching out to CALSA to let us know about the webinar and being that proactive. It seems like EBCE has come up with a pretty thoughtful approach for transitioning customers over to NEM, and there's a lot to like in terms of the credits and not surprising people with large true-up bills. I don't want to throw any other CCAs under the bus necessarily, but this hasn't been true in all cases. There was one CCA in Southern California that wasn't as thoughtful and hadn't really thought through the implications of switching over customers en masse. So I like the way that you're rolling people over gradually so that nobody is at risk of losing a large amount of NIM credits in the process. So yeah, thanks very much. That was a really informative webinar, and I'll just leave it at that and see if any of the other participants on the line have any questions for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Scott. Again, this is Dan Lieberman. I realized I had myself on mute at the top of the call where I was trying to patch you in, and we had a little miscue. That was my fault. Sorry about that, but really glad that you were able to participate and invite your membership. We'll record the webinar and post it for everyone's availability. I do see I have the chat function open for people to provide questions, and I see a question here from someone, how do you communicate to your customers NEM cost shift to non-NEM customers? I think it's, what you're suggesting is that there's a cost that EBCE bears for serving NEM customers. And I would say really most of our policies around rate setting, shall we say, coming out of the gates, it's very much based on PG&E's cost structure. All of our rates mirror PG&E rates, and our NEM policy is essentially the same, with minor differences. I think as other CCAs do, we find that coming out of the gates, there's potential for customer confusion, and so CCAs have kept very closely to what PG&E does for communications purposes and other reasons. Certainly our cost structure will be similar in terms of procurements, but yeah, we didn't dig too deep into the economic analysis to see cost to serve NEM and whether there's cross-subsidization or anything. We're just sort of coming out of the starting gates doing what PG&E does, and I think what you'll find is that over time CCAs will probably evolve a little differently. I've started to see baby steps from CCAs moving away from PG&E's formula. For example, several of the CCAs are offering demand response programs this season. EBCE, we're going to be calling our own event days this year, which we haven't done in the past, so we won't be syncing our peak day demand response days along with PG&E. And there's another CCA that I think is going to announce shortly that they are going to use different hours for demand response super peak than PG&E does, and sort of move closer to that 4 to 9 or 4 to 8 time period that everyone's moving to eventually. I think they're going to hop on that bandwagon earlier. So yeah, so a lot of exciting movement going forward. I see we're at 12:30. I don't see another chat question now, so I actually think I will use this opportunity to just draw the webinar to a close. Thanks everyone for your participation. Scott, I will post this to our website and share the link with you so that you might make it available to your membership down the road. And again, we thank you, Scott, and other participants for your time, and we look forward to serving you. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Dan.